Hello, hello, this is Patty Jo. We are continuing on with day 2 of the Darrell Brooks trial. I have read some comments that I've been having, okay, let's be honest. I'm very new at this. Other people can edit fancy things and I'm still learning very much. I started off with some equipment that really lagged. The sound was bad. I've upgraded that equipment, and by upgraded, air quotes, I mean that my son has graciously sold me his old computer, which is so old of a MacBook it can't even be updated. But I love it. It works great, and it's so much better than the other one. And he is a sound person. So, people who are having difficulty hearing me, I am doing sound checks before I start recording, and I can hear them. But please let me know what is soft. Is it my voice? Is it the video that I'm playing? What is it? Both? Does it go up and down? Is it better with the microphone closer? I did move it closer today, so it is a little louder for me, just to see if that helps. So I am. I also have learned that those uh, long extensions that he was wearing before he became more closely cut on his haircut were called locks. And I don't know whether that's different from twists or braids, but I'm thinking it is. But I also think that those were not his real hair all the way down his waist, like in the music video that we'll see later in the trial. Um, so you can let me know about that. But again, I would not have my hair this long if I could afford a haircut right now. That is the honest truth. I would cut it a little shorter, a little bit more blunt, because I just don't have the hairline and the hair thickness and the hair color, quite frankly, that I used to have. And I'm not willing to continue, you know, dyeing, covering up the gray hair. So I'm wondering, with that hairline and that male pattern baldness that he's sporting, why would you draw attention to it? Okay, moving on. Let's see who's next for the state.
Facilities. We have Ms. Berg. Good afternoon. If you would please make your way to the witness stand. It is to my right, upper riser. When you get there, please raise your right hand. Remain standing, raise your right hand, and I sent my clerk on an errand, so I will swear you in. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes. Thank you. Have a seat, please.
When you are seated, the first thing I will have you do is to state your first and last names for the record and spell each, please.
Holly Berg, Hollylbyberg.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you. Ms. Berg, thank you for your appearance here this afternoon. I'd like to ask you about the events of November 21, 2021, okay? Do you remember that afternoon, 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, what you were doing?
Yes.
What was that?
I was dropping my boyfriend's daughter, who was 5 at the time, at with her dance company on White Rock Avenue at their staging area
Okay.
to get ready for the parade.
So your boyfriend's daughter was gonna participate in the parade?
Yes.
Okay. And you had to drop her off on White Rock?
Hmm.
Okay.
Was that a yes?
Yes.
And
My
then,
job to make sure the record's clear, so if you nod your head or say,
Okay.
I'll clarify. It's okay, people do it all the time.
and after you dropped her off, were you planning to attend the parade then?
Yes.
And where were you planning to watch the parade from?
Earlier that morning, we went and put our chairs and blankets on a spot on Main and Maple right on the corner.
Okay. And do you know if you were on the north side of the street or the south side of the street?
South side.
South side of the street. And do you know any businesses that were nearby that you can remember?
Yeah, we were right across from Main Street Bar and Grill.
Okay.
Main Street.
Okay. Mainstream Bar and Grill?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. And as you were traveling to the parade after dropping off your boyfriend's daughter, did you travel along North Street?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to ask to display exhibit number 7, which has already been admitted, Your Honor.
Permission to publish exhibit 7 is granted.
All right. So it's up on the big screens. It's also on the monitor in front of you.
Okay.
And that's actually a touch.
I was right here in the.
I don't think I jumped that ahead. That was so. This is more of his nonsense road rage over at this gas station.
Second lane. It was probably one lane too close. I drew the X.
Okay.
We can clear it and she can do it again if it's not accurate.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not the.
So I was right
greatest.
here in the.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
In the center lane.
Yes.
Okay.
She's trying really hard.
Hold on, I wonder if she,
Just do it with her finger.
you may have clicked the arrow, which is okay. There's multiple ways to annotate. So try it again and see what comes up.
There we go.
Okay.
Those annotations, we had some super secret new stuff when I was just ending my teaching at the college and at the university, and there's so many ways to do it, and there's so many different, you can still do overhead things, and you can put a 3D model underneath it, and you can do all of these things. But because of that, they're a little like too easy to make a mark, you know, I guess. So I feel kind of for the judge trying to administer this whole thing. And I feel for the people trying to use it who don't have any experience, because it makes you a nervous person testifying even more nervous.
And as you approach that intersection, do you remember if you had to stop for the stoplight there?
Yes, it had just turned red.
Okay. Did you see any cars around you on North Street?
Yes, there was a car to my left. I think it was silver. And I think there was a car on my right.
Okay. And the car on your left then would be in the lane closest to the gas station, correct?
Correct, right at the corner.
Okay. There is a gas station right there, that big box in the middle of the
Yes.
street. Okay. What do you remember happening as you sat there at the stoplight?
So I stopped at the stoplight, and I immediately saw a red SUV come from down the hill on Barstow, and it turned into North Street to go into the gas station. However, it turned on a one-way street, and it was like head-to-head with the car next to me,
Okay.
in the first lane. And so I was right next to the silver car.
Sure.
And
How about, could you draw that for us on the map?
So she's just going to confirm that last gentleman's testimony. And quite frankly, I don't know how he's going to try to make both of them a liar against him, but how dare the both of them be in Darrell's way? You know, what do we call it? Special me? Yeah, Darrell's very special, and he's much more important than what you're doing.
yeah,
The best you can, please.
yep. So it came down here and into this first lane right here.
Okay. And that's where the silver car was parked?
Yeah.
Or stopped, I should say.
Yes, and there is a driveway to the gas station right here.
Okay.
And
But Darrell, there's also one right here that you could have legally pulled into right here. This whole parking lot is one big figure eight. There's one over here. There's one over here. And if you missed it, I bet you could go around a block and come here or here. Look, this guy, he's even coming out of one. All kinds of different ways.
The silver
You
car
could do
was
things
blocking
right.
that driveway because it's an exit, not an enter.
Okay.
Darrell.
And so you saw the SUV go kind of hood to hood or head to head, you
Yes.
said, with the silver car.
Yeah, and I was looking, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy is coming trying to get onto our one-way street, and I saw a bunch of arm flailing from.
By who?
I think both vehicles, because presumably the red SUV is mad that the silver car is blocking to get into the gas station. The silver car is like, I'm not doing anything wrong. So they were both kind of upset. And then I noticed the silver car backed up to allow the red SUV to get into the gas station.
Okay. Could you see into the red SUV and see the driver of that vehicle?
When I was, before it had entered the before silver car backed up and red SUV went into the driveway, I could just see outline.
Okay.
However, after the SUV pulled in, he stopped immediately as soon as he got into the driveway and stuck his head out and was still doing this, like yelling at the silver car.
Gesturing and
Yes.
yelling. Could you hear what was being said?
No, I had my window up.
You had your window up. Okay, but you could, it appeared he was
girl.
yelling.
Yes.
Did he appear angry to you?
Irritated.
Okay. And could you tell how many people were in that red SUV at that point? Or did you see anybody other than the driver?
I did not see anybody else.
Okay. Do you think you can identify the driver of that red SUV?
Yes.
Is that person present in the courtroom here today?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to ask Mr.
Good, or
Brooks to
she's
remove
scared
his
to
mask,
death.
Your Honor, for identification by this witness.
People tell me that they could not have done the job that I did in the area that I specifically worked for the past 7 to 8 years of my career, and I never thought anything of it. But I'm looking at this young lady, and she is absolutely petrified. And this is a much more, I know control is just an illusion of control. And as soon as you let go of that idea, then you've lost all a semblance of control of a situation. But this is much more stronger illusion of control, because look, there's an armed person right behind him who would be an officer ready to stop him if he, there's been measures taken to limit his movements, things like this. So the illusion of control of him is much more controlled in this setting and much more apparent in this setting. And yet, look at her eyes are just huge. She's petrified.
Mr. Brooks, thank you. Record to reflect, he took his mask down.
Intimidating.
Yes.
Look
Is
at
that the driver of the red
look,
SUV you just described for us?
Yes.
Okay.
How many people think that when he's got that dumb mask on that he totally doesn't need, because it's not a COVID thing, and in his situation, I think he looks like Hannibal Lecter from that movie. You still look menacing, Darrell.
Now, did you eventually go on to the parade?
Yes. So right after, 5 seconds after the SUV got in and stuck his head out, then the light turned green and I went and parked my car.
Okay.
And then met with my family. So right after, 5 seconds after the SUV got in and stuck his head out, then the light turned green and I went and parked my car.
Okay.
And then met with my family at
Okay.
the location.
Okay. And did you see a red SUV on the parade route?
Yes, about 30 minutes into getting there.
Okay. So I'm just going to slow down here a little bit, okay? You're doing a great job. Thank you. I just want to ask you now, as you're standing there at the parade, What do you remember about the first time you saw that red SUV?
So at first, so a group had just passed us. I believe it was the Catholic community group. And then there was a large gap. And so I looked to see, what's next.
Okay.
And saw a red SUV, which I originally thought was part of the parade, in the far right lane of Main Street, but it was going really fast, and I said to myself, why is this going so fast? And then it clicked as soon as it switched over to the far left lane, and then into the group of people right in front of me.
And that will be the Catholic community group?
I do believe so.
Oh my gosh.
Did you see the red SUV strike any people in the Catholic community group?
Several.
Can you estimate how many?
At least 15.
Okay. And did, I'm sorry to ask it this way, but did you see anybody like actually fly or roll or tumble?
Yeah, so originally I heard sounds like thuds, and then it was in the air, like bowling pins.
Okay. Did you get a look at the driver of the vehicle as it went through the parade?
Yeah, when I had just said it veered to the left and then struck the group of people, it was about probably 6 or 7 feet from where I was standing.
Okay.
And I saw directly through the driver's window.
What did you see?
I saw a man focused on the group ahead of him.
Is that Darrell Brooks that you saw?
Yes. And as soon as that...
So he was at the right side of the road. He swerved over to the left, knowing people were in front of him, with his eyes fixated on what was in front of him, which was people. And he hit as many as he could. And he was in front of a crowd of people, and he didn't think anybody was going to see. He really does some mental gymnastics, doesn't he?
It happened about 10 seconds after I froze, and I said to my mom, who was with me, I just saw that guy at the gas station. And it clicked that it was the same person.
You remember exactly that it was the same person?
Yes.
Okay. You described hearing some noises that you described as thuds, is that right?
Yes.
What do you think that noise was?
Hitting a large group of people with a vehicle.
Okay. Did you hear Mr. Brooks honking the horn on the vehicle at all?
No.
You described some driving maneuvers where you saw him going from side to side of the road, is that correct?
Yeah, I saw it coming up Main Street in the far right lane, and I was in the far left, on the sidewalk of the far left, and it was then in the far left lane.
Okay.
So all the way across the road. God.
Were you able to estimate the speed of the vehicle at that time?
Objection, hearsay.
Well, it wouldn't be hearsay.
Would you be able to estimate the speed?
To the best of my knowledge, I would say 20 miles per hour, perhaps.
Okay. Did you ever see the vehicle?
As many bodies as it did. I remember the brake lights, but then it continued.
Did you actually see the vehicle drive over people?
I saw it hit the group and people fly, and then there was just chaos in the street.
Okay. Had your boyfriend's daughter already gone through?
No, she had not.
Oh my God, which means that,
So she was back waiting to join the parade, or
We didn't
know where she
know
was?
at the time, no. So as soon as it happened, my boyfriend leaped up to go help people, and I grabbed him. I said, no, go find her. So then he took off and had to go find her down 5 blocks.
Okay. All right, thank you, ma'am. I don't have any other questions for you.
I'm hoping that.
Mr. Brooks, do you have any cross-exam for
Hold
this
on,
witness?
hold on. I am hoping that because she didn't question her about any injuries, that either A, there's going to be another witness, or B, that that particular little girl was spared. Because when he ran over some of these groups, we're hearing about the ones who had mortal injuries, the ones who had morbid injuries, but we're not hearing about just broken legs, or there were a few that were in the ICU with head injuries. Those people, you know, I'm not sure we're getting every detail of every single person quite yet.
I do.
I do.
First of all, good afternoon.
First of all, good afternoon. I'm a friendly guy.
You stated that you saw um, brake lights. Would that be fair to say?
He's all over the place.
Was that a yes?
Yes.
Thank you.
Would it be fair to say you would only see brake lights from a vehicle if it was attempting to stop?
No,
Or slow.
no. That the answer's no. The answer's, and that's not the
So,
only reason to put the
just
brakes
so
on.
I'm clear on that, you would see brake lights on a vehicle that is attempting to slow down or stop.
Sure.
Yes.
And you stated that you can estimate the speed of the vehicle.
She's guessing.
I estimated 20 miles per hour.
The average speed of a parade, and I'm guessing from experience from being in parades and seeing parades in the past, are going to be less than 4 miles an hour. And this is why I'm estimating it there. Because the average person walks between 2 and 4 miles per hour. You actually would slow that rate down if you're presenting something to someone. Plus, parades will move to certain points where, like, maybe the dance group would stop and do a dance routine or something like that, or a band would stop and play a certain Christmas song, perhaps. So, parades are going to move less than 5 miles per hour. Am I right about that? You know what? I'm gonna even send that text to a friend of mine who is much more experienced than I am, and see if I've got, like, if I'm on the right track. But what do you think? So 20 would be 4 times faster than even if they were walking as fast as they could. If I speed walk, I'm going 4 miles an hour, maybe. You know, yeah, that's
And would you characterize that as extremely fast?
For, yes, for the parade, yes.
And how did you come to the conclusion of the speed?
With how quickly it went from point A to point B in my range of sight.
Going back to the gas station incident, you were. I guess I would need to see the map again.
Mhm.
We
You
still
were.
have that available? The map? We still have the map with the markings available up, or was it cleared after we captured
I
it?
didn't clear it. Yeah,
Okay.
could we please save that as 7B, please, Your Honor?
It will be saved as 7B.
And admitted.
Any position on that, Mr. Brooks?
Yeah, I don't see the relevancy of the map.
Mr. directly
But you're
related to
gonna
her
ask a
testimony,
question
sir.
about
It's
it.
relevant. Your objection is noted. It's overruled. Exhibit 7B is received.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't see the relevancy
Okay,
of
you
the
just
map.
said that. Oh, maybe
It's
it's
directly
skipped back.
related to her testimony, sir. It's relevant. Your objection is noted.
So,
It's overruled. Exhibit 7B is received.
where were you positioned again at the stoplight?
Where the X
I was
is.
in the front row in the middle lane.
Do you remember if it was a car to your right?
I think there was a car to my right.
Do you recall if the vehicle you saw going into the gas station had any tinted windows?
I do not.
You rolled down your window, Brooks. So whether it was tinted or not, you rolled down the window and stuck your fat
And
head
you
out.
stated that you were pretty sure it was only one occupant of that vehicle?
Yes, that's all I could see.
With all you can see, or are you sure that it was only one occupant?
Arguing
I could see
semantics.
one person.
Narcissist.
So it'd be fair to say you couldn't see any other seats in
That's
the vehicle?
not what she said.
I saw one person when it was head to head with the vehicle next to me, the one with the arms in the air, and then I saw one person as he stuck his head out the window once he pulled in.
Could you see the
Once
passenger
he
seat?
pulled.
I could not from
Could you
that point.
Could you see the back seats?
No.
Are we done with the map? I'd like to turn it
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Do you recall who subpoenaed you here to testify?
Oh God, here we go.
Yes.
You stated for the record?
Yes, I said. Oh,
You-
the state of Wisconsin district attorney.
Do you see the state of Wisconsin present in the courtroom today?
Objection irrelevant.
Sustained. Mr. Brooks, move on. Under 90611, I've sustained all of the objections related to this line of questioning. It's not relevant. Next
You're
topic.
making yourself
or I
look
will
stupid in front of the jury too.
Find that the cross-examination by you is done.
So you're sustaining every question pertaining to that part of questioning, or is it for
Yes.
every testimony? Or
It's on that topic, so you may continue if you choose another topic.
have you ever seen the plaintiff state of Wisconsin before?
Okay.
Right, pursuant to 90611, judge controls the order and mode of interrogation, that these questions violate sub 1, and Mr. Brooks will not be able to ask any further questions of this witness. State have any redirect?
No redirect, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. You may step down.
Okay, I'm gonna bust in here because we all know that this merry-go-round of stupidity questions that he's got, in my opinion, makes him look really dumb in front of the jury. And that is as the pastor. And I've alluded to the fact that I was on a jury independent of my job one time. It was, I didn't want to do it. I was picked for it anyway. I didn't think I was going to be picked based on working for the fire department, having been a victim, and having been a victim that where the person was let go, things like that. But I will say, and probably I should do a separate video of the whole story because it really was an interesting story and probably one of the better experiences that I've had with the court system. one of the things that I was able that I will say is in the case where I sat on the jury, it became apparent to me that the prosecuting attorney, the state's attorney, I guess, or district attorney, I don't know what that would be, that person was not as experienced as the public defender for the defense, the person being accused of the crime. She was a little bit more experienced than he was. He seemed a little younger. He seemed a little bit more fresh. There was a lot of going up, sidebar, turning off the microphone, and the judge and the two attorneys talking after there would be an objection or something like that, and it would be switched. So it it reminded me that this whole thing is a um, is a communication, like a relationship between the three parties, the judge, and really the four, the judge, the two attorneys, and the jury. And the point of it is to get the appropriate story across for the defense to be able to refute or mitigate that story, and for the jury to decide how the law applies to it, with the judge explaining what the law is. So it didn't make me think less of him, although I probably could have, because, it's supposed to be your job, but everybody has to learn. But in this case, it's like he can't learn. He tries it over and over again, and he thinks just by getting it out there, even though they're sustained objections, that he can't continue with the question, so they don't go his way, then he thinks he's doing something with the jury, that the jury is buying his silver platter of BS. Here you go, eat it up. And they're just, he thinks they're slopping it up, and thank goodness they are just not. So maybe I will stop and I'll do one where I'm just talking and telling you about the jury that I was on, because like I said, very interesting story. I have all kinds of different feelings about it too. Let's see if we get to a break or what we're doing here.
What was
Mr. Brooks,
violated?
I'm not gonna address that right now. I think this will be a good time to take our afternoon break.
Okay.
So we'll be, I need to address a couple things with the parties, but as far as the jurors are concerned, about 15 minutes for the afternoon break, give or take. All rise for the jurors, please.
Okay, I'm going to stop it here, and I will go ahead and make that a separate video, so if you don't want to watch me prattle on about it, you don't have to. Like, subscribe, and share if you wish. If you want to donate to the WAUKESHA area, there is a link you can copy and paste and do that donation directly. Thank you so much, and have a great afternoon.